and welcome. It's Emma here. Do you ever feel like you're putting in the hours with your English, learning new words, studying grammar, but you're just stuck? Like you've hit a wall, or maybe you're on a plateau you just can't seem to climb off? You're not alone. This is an incredibly common feeling for language learners, but often the reasons we get stuck aren't just about vocabulary lists or verb conjugations. They're deeper, rooted in the psychology of how we learn and how we feel about our progress. So, in today's video, we're going to dive into the psychology behind why you might feel stuck in your English learning journey. And most importantly, we'll explore practical strategies to help you break through those barriers and start moving forward again. Ready? Let's get started. First things first. Hitting a plateau is a completely normal part of language learning. When you first start, progress feels rapid. Every new word, every simple sentence feels like a huge victory. Psychologically, this is incredibly motivating. But as you advance, the gaps in your knowledge become smaller and more nuanced. It takes more effort to see significant improvement. Think about it. Learning your first 1,000 words feels revolutionary. Learning your next 1,000 words, while still important, doesn't give you that same dramatic leap in comprehension or ability. Your brain is working just as hard, maybe even harder, but the perceived progress slows down. Psychologically, this can be demotivating. You might think, I'm studying just as much. Why aren't I improving as fast? Understanding that this slowdown is expected is the first step. It doesn't mean you've stopped learning. It just means the nature of your learning has changed. Okay, let's talk about a big one. Fear. Specifically, the fear of making mistakes. Does this sound familiar? You know the word. You think you know the grammar, but you stay silent in conversations or hesitate to write that email because, what if it's wrong? This often stems from perfectionism. We want to speak or write perfectly before we actually speak or write. Psychologically, this is linked to a fear of judgment or looking foolish. It might also be connected to what psychologist Carol Dweck calls a fixed mindset, the belief that abilities are innate and unchangeable. If you believe intelligence or language talent is fixed, making a mistake feels like proof that you simply don't have it. The antidote? Cultivating a growth mindset. This is the understanding that abilities can be developed through dedication and hard work. Mistakes aren't failures. They are opportunities to learn and grow. They show you exactly what you need to work on. Try reframing mistakes. When you catch one, don't think, oh, I'm terrible at English. Think, interesting. That's a pattern I need to practice. Celebrate the fact you noticed the mistake. That's progress in itself. Actively seek low-stakes situations to practice speaking, perhaps with a language partner or tutor who makes you feel comfortable. Why are you learning English? If your answer is something vague like to be fluent or to get better, you might be setting yourself up for frustration. Psychology tells us that clear, specific, achievable goals are far more motivating than vague aspirations. Without a clear target, how do you know if you're making progress? How do you choose what to study next? It's like trying to navigate without a map. This lack of direction can lead to procrastination and a dip in motivation. Also, consider your type of motivation. Are you learning because you have to for a job? Extrinsic motivation? Or because you genuinely love the language, the culture, or the process? Intrinsic motivation? While extrinsic motivation can get you started, intrinsic motivation is the fuel that keeps you going through those tough plateaus. Set SMART goals: specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time-bound. Instead of improve speaking, try, this week I will practice describing pictures aloud for 15 minutes, 3 times. Also, find ways to connect with your intrinsic motivation. Watch films you love in English. Read books on topics you enjoy. Connect with people who share your interests. Make it fun. Are you spending hours passively consuming English content? Watching movies, listening to music, scrolling social media in English? While enjoyable and useful for exposure, passive learning often isn't enough to break through a plateau. Psychologically, we gravitate towards what feels comfortable and easy. Active learning, speaking, writing, summarizing, teaching concepts to yourself, doing challenging exercises, requires more mental effort. It pushes you out of your comfort zone, and that's where real growth happens. Relying too much on passive methods can create an illusion of competence. You understand a lot, but you struggle to produce the language yourself. Audit your study routine. How much time is spent on passive versus active tasks? Ensure you have a balance. Challenge yourself. If you usually just listen, try summarizing what you heard afterwards. If you read, try writing a short opinion piece about it. Engage actively with the material. Try techniques like shadowing, mimicking native speakers, or keeping a spoken diary. In our hyper-connected world, it's easy to look at other learners, perhaps on social media, and think, wow, their English is amazing. Why am I not that good yet? This constant comparison is psychologically damaging. You're often comparing your behind-the-scenes struggles with someone else's highlight reel. You don't see their hours of practice, their mistakes, their own frustrations. This can lead to feelings of inadequacy, envy, and even imposter syndrome. That feeling that you're not really good enough and you'll eventually be found out. These feelings can paralyze you and make you want to give up. Focus on your journey. Track your own progress. Look back at recordings of yourself speaking from 6 months ago, or review old writing. Acknowledge how far you have come. Celebrate your personal milestones, no matter how small they seem. Unfollow accounts that make you feel bad, and follow those that inspire and educate positively. Remember, everyone learns at their own pace. Sometimes feeling stuck is simply a sign of burnout. Maybe you've been pushing too hard, setting unrealistic expectations and trying to do too much too soon. Your brain, like any muscle, needs rest. Pushing through exhaustion is counterproductive and can lead to resentment towards learning. The flip side of burnout is often inconsistency. You have bursts of intense study followed by long periods of doing nothing. Language learning requires consistent, manageable effort over time. Psychologically, building a sustainable habit is key. Trying to maintain an unsustainable, intense routine often leads to failure, which reinforces the feeling of being stuck. Build a sustainable routine. It's better to study for 20-30 minutes consistently every day than to cram for 3 hours once a week. Find a time that works for you and stick to it. Integrate English into your daily life in small ways. Listen to a podcast on your commute, label items in your house, switch your phone language. And importantly, schedule breaks. Allow your brain to rest and consolidate the information. Don't be afraid to take a day off if you need it. So, there we have it. Some of the key psychological reasons why you might feel stuck in your English learning journey. It could be normalizing the plateau, overcoming the fear of mistakes, setting clearer goals, adopting active learning strategies, avoiding the comparison trap, or finding a consistent, sustainable routine. Often, it's a combination of these factors. The most important thing is to recognize that feeling stuck is temporary and often more about your mindset and approach than your actual ability. Be kind to yourself. Acknowledge the psychological hurdles and make small, actionable changes to your routine and mindset. You can break through that plateau and continue progressing towards your English goals. What about you? Have you ever felt stuck? Which of these points resonated with you the most? Share your experiences and any tips you have in the comments below. Let's help each other out. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe for more tips on learning English effectively. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Keep learning, keep growing.